This episode is brought to you by Nupafeed.
Hi everyone, I'm Frankie Terrett-Stutz, joined by Lynn Smansky to interview Allison Springer, who sits down with us in this episode of Behind the Barn, in the hot seat to have some fun and answer questions we've been eagerly awaiting answers to. Before we dive in, just let me highlight for you some of Allison's career accolades, which include being a constant force on U.S. eventing for years, a testament to her skill and dedication to the sport. A veteran of the Defender Kentucky 3-day event, she's claimed top finishes at some of the world's most prestigious competitions, in addition to Kentucky, including a stand-up performance at Land Rover Burley Horse Trials. And Allison has piloted multiple horses to success at the highest level, including her beloved fan favorite, of course, Arthur, who so many knew. Not only a fierce competitor, but also a trailblazer for rider safety, Allison made history as the first rider ever to wear her helmet in dressage at a major event, which we'll dive into a little bit more later, sparking a movement that forever changed equestrian sports safety. Fresh off a strong spring campaign, she arrives at this year's event with her sights set on another impressive showing. And if history tells us anything at all, she's more than capable of delivering, to say the least. But before we dive in with Allison, we want to thank Nupafeed for making this episode possible. Nupafeed provides superior equine supplements used worldwide for either relaxing the spooky or nervous horse or to build energy and stamina in equine athletes. And ironically enough, Allison is the one who over a decade ago told me about this amazing product. So things definitely come full circle. But bottom line, if you have not tried Nupafeed, it's a game changer at every level. So with that said, now we can officially welcome our friend Allison. Allison, welcome to the show and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So Lynn, since I've talked everyone's ear off with our intro, I'm going to let you kick off our first question. So take it from here.
Yeah. So Allison, we know you come from a slightly unhorsey background or family. What's the weirdest thing you've had to explain to somebody that doesn't quite understand the horses?
That's such a good question. I mean, there's a couple things, my college friends still think, I race, and I actually don't try to explain it. So I've just gone with it. I'm like, the racing's great. Thanks for asking. And they are really excited that the racing's going well. Dave, my boyfriend, who is awesome, and he loves the horses and loves this farm life and all the equipment and stuff. He really is, he's an animal person, but he doesn't know much about horses. So he still thinks like Maisie, he thought last year, Maisie, who I'm riding, No May Moon, he thought she was a baby horse because she was so little out there. So I did explain that one away. He's like, what about Nancy's baby horse, the little brown one in the dry lot? I'm like, that's Maisie, who I'm competing this weekend at Morgan. He's like, which one's that? I thought that was Maymoo Pie. I'm like, okay. It's close. It's good. So there you go.
Well, if you were an equestrian, what would you be? What do you think you'd be doing?
What would I be doing? I would probably be out in the mountains out west somewhere. I'd like to think that I'd have been playing music, opera ski and singing along, but I'm not really a good singer, but I enjoy music. But no, I'd definitely be out in the mountains, I think. I'd probably still be teaching on some level. But certainly there's a calling to going out west and being in the mountains and skiing more and doing all that.
I mean, you might not be able to sing that well, but the dance moves, if you've ever seen this lady dance, those, I think you could have a gig as a backup dancer for somebody pretty big. Falls, fails.
So Allison, I have a two-part question for you. First is, what fuels your riding and inspires you still to this day? And the second is, what do you think is the most misunderstood thing about you?
What fuels me today? I mean, just the horses. I have always just loved just the training side. I mean, I love training horses and I love what I do every day. And I think, back in the day, I'm so old, when you are so desperate for all the best results and this and that, I think that I don't know. I just think in my years of riding and whatnot, like I so enjoy the day-to-day training and I love the connection with my horses. And just I think in the past few years, it's with this weird stack of horses I have right now, I just keep like whatever they tell me is best for them. And I think it just fuels me, that connection with them and the training day to day. And then the results have come from that, which is a really good feeling. So I think it's just my horses that fuel me. I absolutely adore all of them. And don't ask me which one my favorite is because they all are. And then the most misunderstood thing about me, I don't know, what are people saying about me? I'd like to know. And then I can maybe tell
Well, this is
you.
an awkward way to tell you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put this back on you guys. What are they saying? Is it okay?
Well, I have a question for you then. Did you purposely diversify your portfolio of horses so well and strategically? You have a lot of different. Yeah.
No, I mean, I remember one year at Great Meadow, I think like Karen O'Connor was commentating and she called me like the honey badger of event riders. She's like, she don't care what she rides. I'm like, because it's true. Um, you know, no, I think I've always had an affinity, obviously for good jumpers. The interesting thing with like the couple of horses at the NC Winners, like No May Moon and Crystal Crescent Moon, obviously I didn't pick them. We bred them, and the mare that we used was not like what you're looking in the barn. Like that would be a tremendous brood mare. It's just we had her, right? And so we bred her, and I didn't know any, and we just happened to have them, and they were both very like Crystal Crescent Moon was very ugly, and Maisie was just so tiny. She was cute. I mean, we never thought they'd amount to anything, and but I just love training them, and that's my thing with Nancy. I start the horse. We start the horses, get them going, and see what they are, and listen to them, and see what they want to be. It's such an intriguing group of horses. They're all so different, but no, I don't know. I think throughout my time too, I've certainly made horses work, and I've trained them to the best of my ability. I don't know if they've had the most ability in the world, but I've just made them the best horses they can be, and they love their job, and they've all stepped up. So I don't really know how I've ended up with, but they are all very different looking.
Well, coming into Kentucky, you've competed at this event so many times now. So what advice would you have given to yourself at your first Kentucky if you could go back and talk to yourself and give yourself some advice?
Oh my God, like don't try anything new in show jump warm up. I mean, I mean, like, I actually jumped around like clean on Arthur and was way up there. And I think it was like an Olympic year. And I remember I was in the warm up. Mark's like, you're going to like walk this vertical. I'm like, I'm going to do what? Like, and it was just probably the hands down the worst show jump warm up. And then typically, your round goes as your warm up does. So that's how it went. So
stick to what you know.
Stick to what you know. Yeah.
Well, in 2010, you made history, which I alluded to in our opener at the Kentucky 3-day event when you swapped out your top hat for a helmet in the first phase of competition as the first ever rider to do so. And to do so that year, I actually remember you had to get the entire ground jury's permission to wear your normal helmet with your chin strap, which thinking back about is crazy now. But here we are 15 years later, and not a single rider that we're going to see this year or anywhere in the world in eventing or dressage, globally for that matter, will not have to fasten their helmet when they ride. And it was you who was brave enough to say, hey, this is what I believe in, and do it for the first time. Can you just reflect on for a moment for us? Because it's truly proof that one person can have a monumental impact, like far beyond anyone's imagination when they believe in something.
Yeah, I mean, that was an interesting thing because I did it for very personal reasons. I didn't do it with the intention of changing the world or anything. I mean, I kind of did it for, my mom, my parents. And myself, it's just the right thing to do. And I just know, I'm very close with my family. And I mean, they have been, standing by my side forever. And they have seen me take some like awesome falls, both as a little kid on ponies. I mean, I've always been so brave. And, I've played a lot of different sports that are kind of high speed and require falls. And, it's my, a big thing with, your family and love and friendship. Like it's important that I stay around for them too. So, um, I definitely did not think about that day trying to change the world or anything like that. And I love what became of it. And there's so much more to do. And I'm so, as far as just safety and all equestrian sport, and I'm really grateful to all the people who have worked so hard with the frangible technology for our cross country fences, and the incredible course design and fence construction, and how committed they are to everyone is to horse and rider welfare. So I think my thing was just a little, you know, it's a blip on the path, but there's still so much more we can do and accomplish. And I love the effort that everyone's putting into it.
Well, I think too, for me, I was thinking back about that too. And I mean, so many people that I saw for so many years didn't wear their helmet at home even. And now I don't think I really see anyone who does that anymore. So it's far extended, past the competition ring, which to me is pretty impactful. And you'll downplay it, I know, forever, but I think it's benefited so many people, from not being impacted, their families and
Yeah, for sure.
pretty
I mean,
incredible.
I certainly stopped wearing, I grew up in the Midwest, always wearing my helmet, my Caliente, whatever. And then I actually, when I moved out east, I kind of started riding in a baseball hat every now and again, because actually that's what my idols were doing. So, and then my parents kind of brought in like, why, and so you kind of think about it. I'm like, oh man, like she's asking because it would just kill her, like if it happened again. So, yeah, I mean, it is intriguing. You'd like to be, I don't know if it was a Nike ad. It's like, I'm not a role model. I'm not this, that. Like, actually, you are. If you're out there and people are watching you, you kind of are. What you're doing, it's important. So,
Well,
Yeah.
we certainly appreciate you taking that chance and rolling down center line 15 years ago, which happens in the blink of an eye at Kentucky.
oh my
It was a
gosh.
monumental moment, and definitely one we'll never forget, and has changed the sport forever, and definitely worth noting.
Does that make you feel old? I mean, that's wild. You were an
No,
influencer
I mean-
before influencers were a thing.
Pre-trend. It was pre-trend.
I was gonna say that with my intro. I'm like, God, I'm getting old. I'm like, all that stuff. All that stuff happened, but I've just been around a long time too. So there you go.
Well, talk to us a little bit about what your prep is on cross country morning. Are you superstitious at all? Do you have any rituals you do? Do you like to stay away from people? What are you doing to get yourself in the game?
I stay. I think some of the best advice I was ever given about big cross country was from Philip Dutton many years ago. I was walking cross country the night before, and he's like, we've walked it enough and all that. He's like, now go home, like, or go back to your hotel, have dinner with your family, like, relax, and do not think about it tonight. Like, try not to visualize. Do not go to bed and let it go in your head. And it was great advice for me, because you can certainly think too much about stuff, so I thought for me that was really good advice. I'm always best when I'm relaxed and happy. I typically am a bit quiet and thinking about it. It's sort of painful when you have to go at the end of the day. I mean, I hate being the trailblazer, and I've always done that, but there's something also nice to just like pulling the trigger and going and sticking to your plan. But but I really try to get a good night's rest, which is, easier said than done. And I try not to let myself visualize it throughout the night at all. I try to like wake up fresh, and I walk it again, and then, just go out and do it.
Sounds
Just
easy
do it.
enough.
Just go ahead and try
is.
to do it. I know.
Get it
I
It
done.
is when you do it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we are going to switch gears for a second because we have a quick mini game that we want to play called Two Truths and a Lie. So you've prepared, maybe, Allison, some truths and a lie about yourself. And Lynn and I are going to try and guess which is the lie.
Oh, okay. So I was just thinking about because I thought this would be better if this was kind of non-horse related. And I'm a little bit sporty spice. I mean, I'm like, jack of all trades, master of none. But so I've got some things about the other sports I've done. So in high school, I was on the swim team. I was varsity swim team, and I went to Illinois State for diving. I was a diver, so that was one of my things. So I went to state as a diver for Barrington High School swim team. So that was one, and then the other. I was the captain of the women's rugby team at Bowdoin College the year we were featured in Sports Illustrated. And the last one, ski racing. So I was a ski racer, and some of my best friends are from ski racing, but I was a couple of times on a couple of occasions duct taped to a folding chair and left out on the mountain.
Why? Because you lost?
I don't know, just what friends do. Don't you guys have good friends?
All right. Szymanski, give us a follow-up question here. I need more time to digest this.
Were you featured in Sports Illustrated in your getup, or were you just featured as a full team for your accomplishments?
Our full team playing. It was an article on NESCAC.
Did you dive off a diving board
Yeah, man.
and do flips?
Yeah.
What was your best dive?
I don't really think I had any best dives.
I think that the swimming one is a lie.
Do you all have to concur? Or
Now,
should
Lynn
I just...
has to guess too.
I'm.
This is really hard.
It's not number 2. It's 1 or 3. And I'm going to go with the chair.
Do you think the skiing one is a lie?
No, I don't. But it was more actually the delivery of it.
But you have to pick one that's a lie. So is that your pick?
Just to be different.
All right. Tell us, Springer. What do you got?
Actually, I was never the captain of the rugby team. I was
Did she say rugby?
I was the songmistress, so if you ever want me to sing you a dirty rugby song, I can do it anywhere. I've got tons of... I was the songmistress, never the captain, but we were in Sports Illustrated, and we were in amazing for rugby. It was an article. My dad will find it somewhere, and he can send it to y'all, but it was many moons ago, because I graduated a long time ago. And it was an article on the New England Small College Athletic Conference. So Bowdoin was in that, and the women's rugby team had a picture in it, and I was in it.
I have to say that's very clever.
I was not.
But you didn't play. You just sang?
No, I played. I was great. My dad will tell you many stories about. We had a great team, but so after rugby games, you have socials, right? And so both teams come together and, you have songs, you sing songs to each other, and they're kind of a little, they're like, limit. I'm not going to sing anything here because you have to bleep it all out, but they're really funny and it is hysterical. But I was the songmistress, so I would lead, the socials, and me and the other team, you keep the songs going and people keep the limericks going. If you've not experienced anything of the sort, then I don't know how family friendly this show is supposed to be, but I definitely cannot sing you all any songs another time.
Okay, well, I'm expecting my time to come for those.
Yes.
We also have fans who've written their questions because we think that they're very good at that, better than the questions we can ask. So first, Tom from Kentucky wrote in and said, I've always wondered, how do they keep those pants so white? Do they use new ones all the time or just have some secret washing tricks?
Okay, I have a question. Is that Tom from Kentucky or Will Coleman? Because he's asked me that question a couple times.
I mean, he could be his alias, but he did say Tom from Kentucky.
So this is what I do, Tom. I get some of that Oxy White and I soak that in hot. I mean, my pants are real dirty, and yes, probably they get replaced out every year, but I do soak it in the Oxy White for a while in hot, and then I wash it, and it actually works pretty well. But if you get up real close, they're not always look as clean as you think. Like the big
No.
shirts, you might bust out some nice new whites. But I do keep my. But Coleman asked me that question. I remember many years ago. He was like, "Springer, how do you keep your pants so white?" I'm like, well,
Then he got a wife.
I'm like, I wash them.
Yeah, I
I
wash
treat
him.
them and I wash them, and that's
We-
what I do.
In his defense, he does do his own laundry, so maybe he was actually asking some laundry tips.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I have one for you. This is Margaret from California. She says, Allison rides so many types of horses, big and small, fast and spooky. When you're riding multiple horses at an event and they are so different, how do you switch gears to be your best for each of them?
You know them so well from training day to day, but there will be times when you're going from one warm up to the next. Like Monbeg Zebedee, though he has such a naturally bigger stride than a Van Dyke, and I have to a little bit. And some of the times, my first few show jumps are not the prettiest, like the first few in the warm up, I'm like, oh, okay, adjust your eye dinger, like get it together. And, but I don't know. I just have a great, each horse kind of has their thing as far as what they need to go into, to get prepared for the dressage. But I know I think I just spend so much time with them every day that I'm okay. Going into it. I mean, I'm grateful. I miss my Arthur so much, but I have some spooky horses right now, like Maisie and Crystal Crescent Moon and No May Moon are both spooky, but at least they're spooking at things that you kind of can see and register they're going to spook at, where Arthur saw dead people, and that was really hard for me sometimes to guess what it was going to be. So that
He's
was
preparing you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a little easier.
So our next question is from Carol from Seattle. She wrote, what's the most unexpected thing top eventers keep in their tack trunk?
In their tack trunks?
Any strange items hiding in your tack box?
I don't know. I got readers everywhere and eye drops and what else do I have? No, I don't know if there's anything really weird that I have. I hope not. I don't know. I think I'm just boring. Sorry.
All right.
I'm going to go rummaging through a trunk and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll get back to us on that.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on
that. So just over the years, I mean, maybe this has evolved for you. This is a question not submitted by anybody, but myself. Talk us through kind of what your final self-talk is, or lack of self-talk, or what you're thinking as you're going down the ramp in your final preparation for going into the dressage ring or into that final show jumping round. Where's your head at?
The mental game side of sport has always been incredibly intriguing to me. I know I am my very best when I am, just trying, relaxed and focused and prepared. Katie Prudent years ago, and it was with Arthur, because it was so tough to show jump. She's like, this is how we train him. This is how you warm him up. And then you go in the ring and you just ride the best way you can. I'm like, what? That's so simple, right? And but I think that she taught me a lot, about just having that mindset for me going to the ring. What I've trained and what I've practiced to this point it has to be good enough. It's not going to be a better one. So that gives me some sort of just better calm than I used to have. I used to kind of dread, oh my God, I have to jump clean. I have to do this. I have to do that. I weirdly am at this point now, I've done all the preparation to jump a clear round, or to have a good dressage test. And all I can do is, ride my best and hope hope the result comes. And that actually has made me better as a competitor than like the toiling, like you have to have the result. Because when I have that feeling of having to have the result, then your brain, your body just doesn't stay in that good functioning mode. So,
And do you feel like you were that way until Katie? Would you attribute that to be the biggest game changer? That
I think
advice.
Katie Verdon's an awesome coach, in that I've seen her train so many different. She's produced so many top Grand Prix show and all different sorts of people with different individual personality and needs. It doesn't work for me when a coach like everybody has to do it the same way, or I don't know. I think that competing is, I've always loved to compete, and ski racing was intriguingly, it's a sport that there's one line, there's no black flag options. And if you get a little off your line, you have to fight to get back on it no matter what. And I can always visualize it going perfectly. I can always visualize it. And I'm really good at eliminating any negative thought. That did not make me a better cross country rider, because in the best cross country riders don't just like plan A is your plan A, but you have to recover and figure out how to get to different things. And I think like there are many times with Arthur back in the day, I was slow at recovering when things didn't go right because I was so focused on just like this is the direct route. If you're not doing that, you're not meant to be here. Where that's not how the best riders in the world function. And honestly, like I'm older now. I've had the opportunity to try and fail and succeed and try again and fail and succeed so many times. That just helps you a little bit, have some experience and, okayness with embracing the suck and learning from it and going on.
Love that.
So, I don't have it all figured out, guys. I do not have it. Embrace the suck. I don't have it all figured out, but I I have this weird, like, this is, maybe, this is all I can, I've trained my best, and I just have to try to go in and ride my best and hope that's enough. And
that's all you can do.
That's all I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can't wait to cheer you on in Kentucky this year, Allison, and we wish you the best of luck. We will be watching you as you head down that ramp into the big stadium, as you have so many times before, this time without slight whispers if you listened close enough to your friend Arthur that he's okay, but he'll be watching from above. We can know that. And for our viewers who are watching, don't forget to send in your questions for our riders on the upcoming episodes of Behind the Barn. You can do that via email at info@athletics.com. And do not forget to share this episode with your friends, your family, and anyone else you think of. You could probably trick them on the 2 truths and a lie about Allison Springer, because she definitely tricked us. Huge thanks one more time to our friends at Nupafeed for sponsoring this episode of Behind the Barn, as well, of course, to our friend Allison Springer for joining us. I'm Frankie Terry at Stutes, and on behalf of myself and Lynn Samansky, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on another episode soon.